Some people are like that still. But
Yeah, so it's good stuff.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Today we're going to start in a seated pose. So if you'll just come into a comfortable position, think about, again, your spine, kind of elongating that spine. Feel free to close your eyes or soften your gaze if you would like. And then just start to breathe deeply. Bring your awareness to your tailbone, just making sure that that is softened down, that you're not kind of arching forward or arching backward on it, but it's just in a nice neutral position. And again, take a nice deep breath. And I'm gonna invite you to take one hand to your heart space. It doesn't matter which one. If you would like to take the other hand to your belly space, you're welcome to do that. But as you breathe, just notice the rhythm of your breath. And then if you can, begin to deepen that breath. We're just coming to center today. Being able to be present with ourselves and with each other in this space. Recognizing the air that goes into our lungs and the air that we exhale. When you're ready, you can start to take one hand down to the side. We're going to inhale the other arm up and then lean over to the side, stretching out that side body. Really contracting in through the small side and then opening up that other side. And then coming back to center, we're taking the other hand down, inhaling down Sama. And then stretching over. Just starting to warm up that waistline. Coming back to center. We're going to go ahead and clasp our hands in front of us and then pull straight out from our heart. And then we're going to tuck our chin and begin to round down, pulling those arms forward even more, really arching the upper back. And when you're ready, start to round up and release those arms down. We're going to take those hands behind our backs, still clasp them, and then pull straight down at your spine. And then if you would like, you can look up toward the ceiling, opening up that heart space. And again, you're just doing as much as feels comfortable to you. So if your arms don't come all the way down, leave a little bend in your elbows. And when you're ready, go ahead and release that. We're going to do that whole section again. One hand down, inhale the other arm up. Exhale over to the side, pausing for several breaths. Really thinking about anchoring in through that opposite hip. Your sits bones are still on the mat, so we're not tipping over at all. And then coming back to center, planting that hand as we raise the other one and inhale. And then exhale off to the side. Again, breathing deeply. Coming back to center, we're going to take both hands, clasp them in front of our heart, and pull straight out. As we tuck our chins and round our back down and keep pulling forward. Really arching through those, the back space, the upper back space here. Releasing that down as we round up, taking those hands behind us, interlacing the fingers and pulling down as we open up the chest, looking up toward the ceiling. Taking another deep breath. And then go ahead and release that down, kind of shake out those arms a little bit. We are gonna work ourselves into a gentle twist. And so we're gonna leave one leg bent underneath us and bring the other knee kind of up towards our chest. And we're gonna take the opposite arm and pull that knee in toward our chest as we twist gently on our spine here. Today's meditation, we're talking about how failure can be just another path to success. So oftentimes we have something that doesn't quite go the way we think it's going to, or sometimes we fail spectacularly and we think, oh, that's it, I'm done. But we can have a different perspective of it. We can let it just be another stepping stone for us. So take another deep breath here and then go ahead and release that down. We're going to take that, I guess it's my left foot. I don't know which foot you guys started with. So whichever knee is up, you're going to take that same foot in the opposite hand. And if you would like, you can kind of massage your arch here just for a moment. And then you're going to cradle that in your opposite hand, and then cradle the outside of that in your arm, and then rock back and forth. Just starting to warm up that hip space. And then go ahead and release that down. We're going to switch sides. So this time, we're going to bring the other knee in. And comes up towards our chest. And then we wrap that opposite arm around it, pulling that knee in towards our chest as we twist our spine slightly. I was thinking about this topic for today and how, failure is just another step towards success, or sometimes it's another pathway towards success. And I thought, man, I didn't feel like that earlier in the week. I had a spectacular failure of my own. I'm leading a group of junior high students right now, trying to teach them some things about the fruits of the Spirit of all things. And so we were talking about peace on Monday. And at the end of, all of our time together, and we had talked all around this idea, I asked them, what is something that brings you peace? And they all answered, my phone. I thought, oh man, I feel like I did not communicate this well then. And I thought about it later, and I thought, you know what? Maybe that does bring peace to somebody. Go ahead and release that down. We're going to take that foot in our opposite hand, massage that archway just a little bit. And then take it in the opposite hand, wrap the other arm around, and then start to rock that leg back and forth. There's another story that Morgan Harper writes about in her book called Peace is a Practice. And it's a beautiful book. I highly recommend it if you are in between reads or if you need something good to read that's just encouraging. It's a great book. Go ahead and settle that down. We are going to go ahead and take one foot in front of the other, sitting nice and tall, placing our hands on the mat, and then rolling forward. Anyway, in her book, she writes about a story that talks about when she was in high school. she worked at a retail place, and so she had to fold all of these shirts and stack them in a certain order, and how she took great pride in doing that and really enjoyed learning how to do that. And she said there was a family that came in, and the dad redid one of the stacks that some other customers had messed up, and kind of went, hey, look at, I did it too. And she said that she congratulated him. She was like, congratulations, you did a good job. And she thought that she was being very sincere, but she said it wasn't until much later in life that she received an autism diagnosis. And so she didn't know that her voice was very flat and monotone. And so when it came out, it sounded to the dad like she was being sarcastic. Go ahead and walk your hands back towards your body. Switch those feet in front. Place your hands on the mat, and then once more, start to inch yourself down. Again, wherever feels comfortable to you. So anyway, she said it was years later that she kind of was putting all of that together, and the dad, just kind of looked at her, and their family just left the store, is how that story ended. But because of that moment, and that, what could be deemed as a failure in that moment, she learned that thing about herself, about her voice being monotone, and she started to explore how you inflect your voice and how you bring more warmth into what you're saying. And if you listen to any of her spoken poetry, spoken word poems that she's recorded, her voice is so rich and so peaceful. And it's something that she writes about that she learned through that moment of failure. So now it brings such great joy and peace to a lot of other people, but not without, going through that failure part first. When we're ready, we can go ahead and walk our hands back to center. We're gonna place our hands on the mat and pull ourselves up into an all fours position. We're gonna do our cat-cows here. So making sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, making sure that the inside of your elbow here is kind of pointed out toward the front. That helps to protect your shoulders. Doing that engages all the big muscles on the backside of the shoulders, as opposed to when we have them in facing toward each other, then it puts all the pressure on this tiny little muscle in the front of the shoulder. So just a reminder there to help protect your shoulders in this pose. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and drop our bellies down, allow the tailbone to come up, allow the crown of the head to come up. And when you're ready to exhale, go ahead and tuck that tailbone, arch the back, really stretching through the shoulder blades, tucking your chin. And then when you're ready to inhale, moving back into cow as you drop your belly. And then following your own breath again. When you're ready to exhale, arching up into cat. Inhaling into cow. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and come back to neutral. So your spine is parallel to the floor here. We're going to do some sunbirds or some extended tables. So we're going to shift our weight to the left knee and the right foot, or the right foot, the right hand. We're going to take the right foot up away from the mat. And if you would like, you can also raise your left arm here. Checking in with your spine, that it's still elongated. Checking in with your hips, that they're not opening up to the side, but they're still square to the mat. Really reaching those fingertips in one direction, the toes in the opposite direction. And then allowing that to kind of float down to the mat. Here, we're gonna slide that right knee between those two front hands, coming into pigeon pose on the right side. And then folding forward over top of that front knee. And here, if you want a deeper stretch, you can start to kind of inch your foot out away from your body. That's gonna deepen the stretch. If you need to ease up a little bit, then you're gonna bring that foot in closer to your body. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then working yourself back up onto your palms, sliding that knee back underneath your hips. And checking in with your posture here. We're gonna do a few more cat-cows, and so go ahead and on your inhale, coming into cow. And then on your exhale, arching your back up, tucking the chin for cat. Again, moving at your own pace. Maybe doing one more set. Then coming back to neutral. This time we're going to shift our weight to our right knee and our left hand, taking that left foot up away from the mat. And then if you would like, you can add that right arm in for extended table. And here you can flex your foot or you can point your toes. Either way is just fine. The thing that we're concentrating on here is our core. So drawing that belly button in toward the spine. Continuing to breathe as you do so. Again, really reaching those fingers toward one wall, toes toward the other. Or if you have a flex foot, you're reaching your heel toward the opposite wall. And then floating that all back down. And we're going to slide that left knee forward, maintain those two front hands. Coming down into pigeon pose. So sitting nice and tall first, and then folding forward over top of that front knee. Take some deep breaths. When you're ready, you can take your palms underneath your shoulders once more and start to slide that left knee back underneath your hips. We're going to leave our knees about hip width apart and then sit our hips back over top of our ankles as we stretch forward for child's pose. Resting your head either on the mat or you can make two fists and then rest your forehead on your fists. So either way. And then we're just going to do some back and forth here where we plant our hands on the mat. We're going to pull ourselves up and then drop our hips down into cobra pose. And then when you're ready, you're going to exhale, shifting your hips back all the way over top of those heels once more, coming back into child's pose. When you're ready for your inhale, you're going to move back up first into all fours, then into modified plank, dropping the hips down, coming into cobra. And then again, when you're ready to exhale, shifting those hips back over the heels. And then we're going to do 5 or 6 of these just at your own pace. And if you need to take a few more breaths than just one breath to one move, feel free to do that. This is your practice. So this is for you. And then after you do maybe one more set of those, join me in child's pose. Taking a nice deep breath here. Being reminded of our mantra for today, or our meditation for today, which is failure is just another path to success. When you're ready, you can press your palms into the mat. Pull yourself up onto all fours once more. We're going to tuck our toes, and then we're going to shift our hips up, bringing our weight onto our feet as we walk our hands back towards our feet. For our first forward fold of the day. Tucking your chin here, really releasing any tension you might feel in your neck and shoulders. If you need to, you can shake your head yes here, or you can shake your head no, or wag it from side to side. Again, just releasing any tension in your neck. Then bending your knees deeply, we'll place our hands on our knees and slowly round ourselves up. Very good, and we're going to come to the front of our mats. We're going to start to do some of our strengthening poses here before we get into our sun salutations. So first, we're going to inhale both arms up overhead. And then you can either interlace your fingers, or you can grab one wrist with the other. You're going to pull over to one side for half a move. Then coming back to center, go ahead and release both arms down. We're going to start to shift our hips back for chair pose. So make sure that your feet are first hip width apart. And as you shift your hips back like you were sitting on a chair, you're making sure that your arms come up in front of you, either here, or if you want to do cactus arms to engage your upper back as well, you can. Taking some deep breaths. We're going to straighten the hips, but we're going to take our hands all the way down to the floor, coming back into a forward fold. And then here, if you can, I'm going to invite you to come up onto your toes. So your heels are off of the mat. This is a little bit of a trickier pose. So if you want to do just one arm at a time, you can. But we're going to take those palms toward the front and then pull those arms back behind us. So here's an example of just one arm. If you feel like you can do it with both, feel free to do that. We're balancing on the balls of our feet. We're looking at the mat in front of us. And then go ahead and release that all down to the mat. Bend the knees, take the hands to the knees, and then slowly round up. And then we're taking the other side, inhaling both arms up. This time either clasping your fingers or grasping the other wrist. Go to the opposite side that you did before. And then when you're ready, coming back to center, releasing those arms down. We're going to again plant our feet on the mat, then shift our hips back, making sure that our knees are not jutting over top of the toes, but they're in line with the toes. And either you can bring your hands up to heart center, you can bring them straight out in front of you, you can do cactus arms or some other pose if you would like. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you're taking those hands all the way down to the mat, straightening the legs as much as you can, tucking that chin, coming into forward fold. And when you're ready, you can start to work yourself up onto your toes here, onto the balls of your feet. And then if you would like, you can start to open your palms toward the front, bring those arms back behind you. Taking some deep breaths here. And then taking those hands back down as you set your heels down. Go ahead and bend the knees. Place your hands on your knees. And then round yourself up. Very good. We're going to step back with that right foot. So in this pose, our heel is going to be down on the mat. And our front foot is providing some stability here as we bend that front knee slightly. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and raise both arms for warrior one. And then think about softening your tailbone down. You're going to really feel that pull on the front side of your right leg. And then when you're ready, we're going to open up our hips to the long edge of our mat as we turn the back toes out to the long edge as well and bring our arms down to warrior two pose. And you can have your palms facing down, palms facing up. Either way is just fine. There's not necessarily a correct version. And you'll probably feel this a little bit more on the inner thigh of your front leg here. And when you're ready, we're going to start to turn ourselves toward that short edge of the mat. So we're on the ball of the foot once more. We're going to inhale, both arms up. And then as we exhale, we're going to come forward, stepping forward and squeezing the arms down. So now we're going to take the other side, stepping back with the left foot. Again, making sure that that heel is down in the back. If that means that you need to kind of angle your foot out just slightly, feel free to do that. Your front knee is slightly bent. And then go ahead and raise those arms. Taking some deep breaths. I know when we start to do some of these movements that have a lot of the lower body involved, it can be easy to hold our breath, but we want to keep that air moving. And then think about softening that tailbone down. So it's not jutting out behind you, it's softened down toward the floor. Taking some deep breaths. And then here, we're going to start to open up our hips toward that long edge of the mat as we turn the back toes toward the long edge, and then bring both arms down into warrior two. I don't need to face away from you all. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to turn toward the short edge of your mat. So that means your hips are now facing the short edge. You're up on the back of the ball of the back foot there. Then inhale, both arms up. And then we're going to step forward as we sweep those arms down. Very good, very good. So now we are ready for our sun salutations. So if you need to shed some layers, feel free to do that. We're going to get very warm here. I'll take off my mismatching socks. I don't know if anybody else noticed. That used to be all the rage.
It might still be.
Oh, yeah, I think it might still be, absolutely. All right, so we're going to take our arms up overhead as we inhale. Bring our palms together, exhale down to heart center, and keep exhaling all the way down to forward fold. And then when you're ready, we're going to come to our fingertips into a flat back pose. And if this is not accessible for you, then you're going to put your palms on your shins here, again in a flat back pose. And exhale all the way down into forward fold once more. We're gonna move slowly through this first sun salutation, and then the next time that we do it, we'll try to do one breath to one move. So we're gonna step our right foot back into that runner's lunge, planting our hands on the mat. We're gonna step the left foot back, so we come into a plank pose. And we're gonna lower ourselves all the way down to the mat. Untucking the toes, we're gonna push up into either cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale all the way down. And then inhale and tuck our toes. Exhale and push up into plank. I'm gonna shift those hips back, coming into downward facing dog. And then looking forward in between those two front hands, we're gonna step forward with the right foot and then the left foot. And we're gonna have a flat back here, arms out to the sides, coming all the way up. And then releasing those arms down with our exhale. Very good. So do the other side, inhale, arms up. Palms together, exhale to heart center. Keep exhaling as you fold all the way forward. Inhale into flat back pose, whichever version you're doing. Exhale all the way forward. Step back with your left foot. Keep exhaling, and then your right foot. Keep exhaling all the way down. Then inhale into cobra. Exhale all the way down. Inhale and tuck your toes. Exhale and push up into plank. Keep exhaling as you shift your hips back into downward facing dog. Looking forward, inhale as you step your left foot forward. And then the right. And then exhale as you fold forward. Then inhale as you take your arms out to the side, flat back all the way up, and then exhale those arms down. Very good. Do we feel warmer now? Yes, very good. Okay. We're gonna do that once more, only we're gonna add in the little sequence that we did at first with our strengthening poses. So we're gonna inhale both arms up. Exhale our hands down to heart center, but keep going all the way forward. And we're gonna inhale into flat back. And then exhale into forward fold once more. We're gonna inhale as we shift our hips back, coming into chair pose. So lifting our upper bodies up. Pausing here, holding this for a breath or two. Really using that breath. When we're ready, we're gonna go ahead and lift those hips with the hands. Coming back into our forward fold. This time we're going to step back with the right foot. And then we're going to lift up into our, well, I guess this is technically, I guess we shouldn't step back quite so far. That would be better. So the heel can touch down, lift up into warrior one. And then open as we exhale into warrior two. Then drop the arms as we turn back toward that short edge of the mat. Inhale both arms up. And then exhale as we step forward. We're going to fold all the way forward. Inhale into flat back. Exhale down. Stepping back with that right foot once more. And then the left. Then lowering all the way down. Then lifting up into cobra. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling as you tuck your toes. Exhale as you push up into plank. Keep exhaling as you push back into downward facing dog. Looking forward, inhaling as you step forward with your right foot, and then step forward with your left foot. Exhaling as you come into forward fold. Inhaling both arms up out to the sides. Standing up, I'm starting to get out of breath. And then exhaling all the way down. Very good.
It's good to know we're not the only one.
Yeah, normally I can time that a little bit better, but today maybe not so much. Again, failure is a pathway to success, right?
Many pathways.
Many pathways, there are many pathways. Inhale, both arms up. Bring your palms together. Exhale all the way down to forward fold. Inhale up into flat back. Exhale down to forward fold. We're going to shift our hips back and down. Bringing our upper body up into chair. We're going to hold this for a few breaths. Pausing here. Taking both hands down to the mat. We're going to lift up our hips toward the ceiling. Then taking the left foot back. Again, not stepping quite as far as what we normally would for our mother's lunge. We're going to lift up, coming into warrior one. And then exhale as you open up to the side for warrior two. And turning toward that short edge of the mat, as you allow that heel to come up in the back, go ahead and inhale both arms up. And then step forward as you exhale. And then folding all the way forward. Inhaling into flat back. Exhaling down as we step back with that left foot, this time a little further. And then step back with the right foot. Lowering all the way down. And then inhaling as we come up into cobra. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, tuck your toes. Exhale as you push up into plank. Keep exhaling as you shift your hips back into downward facing dog. Looking forward, inhale as you step your left foot forward, then your right foot forward. Exhale as you fold. And inhale both arms out to the sides. Flat back all the way up. And then exhale down. Excellent. That is the end of our active practice today. So we did good. We're going to move into our balancing postures. So we're going to do tree pose today, but I have a little exercise to read for us from, again, Morgan's book. Let me see if I can get to it. And this exercise, or this practice, is called the tree. So the invitation later today or sometime this week is to find a tree nearby, perhaps in your neighborhood or in the parking lot where you work. Notice what makes this tree special. Is it its height or its age? Is the bark thick? Are the limbs long and thin? Pay attention to all the tree's characteristics. If you don't know what type of tree it is, that's okay. Just simply notice what makes the tree beautiful and take it in. And I think for us today, we often, like I said, can color things as failure that maybe we just need to invite a different perspective of. So when we're ready, we're going to start with our feet hip-width apart in our mountain pose, making sure that we are nice and aligned with our spine here. Our tailbone is softened down. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and shift your weight to that left foot, drawing the right foot in like a little kickstand, bringing the hands to heart center for tree pose. And then feel free to explore further from here. So bringing that leg up if it feels comfortable to you, extending those limbs out if that also feels comfortable to you. Making sure that that tailbone is tucked down, that your belly button is drawn in toward your spine. Continuing to breathe as you hold this pose. And then when you're ready, taking those arms back to heart center, stepping out with that right foot, shaking out the left leg. Starting back in our mountain pose. Gonna stand nice and tall, pressing our feet into the mat. Feel very grounded and balanced here. And then again, when you're ready, you're going to shift your weight to your right foot this time, drawing the left foot in like a kickstand and taking those hands to heart center. And then exploring this a little further if you would like, drawing that foot up, extending the arms out if you would like. Remembering to hold the pose, but not to hold the breath. I'm reminded of Thomas Edison, who had such a great perspective of failure. He said, I have not failed to invent the light bulb. I just found 10,000 ways that it doesn't work. And then he found the one that did. So when you're ready, bringing those arms back down to heart center, stepping that left foot out, releasing those hands down, shaking out that right leg if you need to. Very good. We're going to come back down to the mat. I'm going to come into our seated pose like we started. So we're going to take our right leg out at kind of a 45-degree angle from us. The left knee is bent. And your left foot, if you can, bring it up kind of high on your right thigh. And we're going to inhale our arms overhead. Then we're going to turn and face that extended leg and then exhale and round down over that extended leg. Helping to stretch out your low back here, as well as your hamstring and your inner thigh. And we're going to stay here for a full 10 breaths. I think one of the beautiful things that I experienced growing up was that failure was not necessarily a bad thing, but that we could learn from it. And that was such a grace in my life. And again, Morgan in her book also talks about the things that we can learn from failure. And she suggests a couple of things. She says, failure can teach us to see ourselves in a different way. So I invite you to think about that, to think about maybe what you learned about yourself in one of those moments. When you're ready, we can go ahead and walk our hands back towards center. We're going to switch sides, so taking the left foot out at a 45-degree angle. We're bringing that right foot in. Sitting nice and tall. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then turning to face that lengthened leg, go ahead and round down over top of that leg. Again, only coming as far as feels comfortable to you. She also suggests failure can teach us to see our stories in a different way, or maybe to recognize the story that we're telling ourselves about something. Again, we're going to stay here for about 10 deep breaths. Maybe there's a story in your life that you've been bought into that isn't serving you anymore, and so that is something that needs to be reconsidered. When you're ready, we can go ahead and start to walk those hands back to center. This time we're going to extend both legs out to the side, taking our palms to the mat in front of us. And again, rounding ourselves down, coming only as far as feels comfortable to you. The last thing that she suggests in her book is that failure can teach us that our struggle can help others who struggle. And gosh, I have just found that to be so true in my life. And I'm sure that you all have found that to be true in yours, or I hope you have. That pain is not wasted, but it can help somebody else. Even just for them to know they're not alone. So when you're ready, after your 10 deep breaths or so, we're gonna walk those hands back to center. Fold those legs in together, and we're gonna round ourselves down onto our mat into a lying down position. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Rock back and forth across that low back. And then coming back to center, go ahead and place those feet on the mat. And extend our right foot up toward the ceiling, drawing that thigh in toward your chest. Again, checking in with your breath. And then start to slowly open up that leg to the outside. If you need to extend your right leg or your left leg down to the mat to help with balance, feel free to do that. Taking another deep breath here. And then slowly bringing that back to center. Go ahead and bend that knee. And this time you're taking the knee across your body, allowing it to come all the way over. Extend that right arm out away from you for a nice reclined spinal twist. And roll back to center, bringing that knee into your chest, and then releasing that foot down to the mat. We're going to take the left leg up toward the ceiling. Pulling that leg in towards your chest. And then very gently starting to open that leg out to the side. Again, if you need to straighten your right leg to be able to have a little bit of an anchor, feel free to do that. Taking another deep breath here. And then drawing that leg back to center. Go ahead and bend that knee. Bring that knee in towards your chest and then across your body. And then extending the left arm out to the side for a nice reclined spinal twist again. And then rolling back to center. Go ahead and pull that knee into your chest once more, extending that leg all the way down to the mat. And go ahead and open up our palms toward the ceiling, allowing those arms to rest at kind of a little angle out from your body, allowing your toes to fall open. If you would like to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that, or soften your gaze. We'll take a few moments of rest here in our final relaxation position. And I'll call us back together when we're ready. When you're ready, you can start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, roll yourself to one side. Push yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands either on top of your heart or maybe prayer hands or open palms, whichever one you would like. Go ahead and close your eyes. I'll pray for us. God, thank you for this practice today. Thank you that you look at us through the lens of love, that you don't see our failures as failure, but that you offer us a different perspective, that you continue to give us a reframe. So God, would you give us eyes to see ourselves as you see us through love. We love you, and it's in your name we pray.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Her name is Morgan.